All right, we're into our second series of the day. Obviously, congratulations to PK for making it through. Commiserations to Kova, who unfortunately will be eliminated. We have another series going on at the same time right now, M&M versus Absolved. I am being told that actually Absolved have won the first game. I'm seeing it listed as they have won anyway, so Absolved potentially going to be taking that first game. Tricked versus Nordavind, though, is going to be taking place on this stream. We have got a bit of a banger coming your way, because these are two teams that I think really were not expected to be in an elimination match so soon, Guldborg.
We were not expecting them to be in the elimination bracket, and had they been different groups, I think we could have seen this as a semi-final or something like that. I think a lot of people would have expected that between these two.
Yeah, and we're into champion select already here, Jamada. What do you make of this? Do you think Tricked or Nordavind Black come in as favourites just based off, I guess, rosters alone?
I mean, I would edge it to Tricked, I will have to admit to some bias here, but I think Tricked should still kind of edge this one out. Regardless, I think that when Tricked play their best form of League of Legends, they're one of the best teams in the NLC, period. So I think if they can actually, live up to that standard of play that they have met in the past, I think that they can very easily take down Nordavind Black.
Yeah, I think so too, but I think some of the weaknesses when they are faltering, and specifically throughout the series we've had here, is Soph. Soph is usually a really good facilitating jungler that can be very intelligent, but in this meta, he kind of, just like Julber before, suffers a bit from it. And I think that has been one of the weaknesses, or the weak points as well. He didn't have the best Kindred performance when he was playing Kindred against the other Nordavind team. So it's going to be interesting to see how Ploxy, who's usually a very aggressive jungle, will fare out against the likes of Soph here. So once again, jungle matchup on our minds.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see this one, because obviously when we look back at some of the games yesterday, some of the drafts were a little wild. I remember there was like a Camille support that went Triforce first, which, was a little bit suboptimal, as Dan, I think, was saying. But yeah, I'm kind of excited, because I actually don't think this is a meta that suits Ploxy or Soph particularly well. I don't think either of those players I associate with farming junglers. I think, Soph have always associated with pretty heavy gank style junglers. And as you said, Ploxy likes to be more of an aggressive style jungler as well. We're not really in a meta that's all about ganking junglers, though Twisted Fate, we haven't seen much of him be let through, and Eren will get his hands on Twisted Fate straight up.
Okay, now we just go back and think, okay, Wales, what will happen usually if we see the Twisted Faith? Okay, great pickup on red side as well, but I would also expect Silas to come through later. But I like how prepared they are. Crispec instantly onto the Jhin. We've already seen how volatile this AD carry can be, and I like the two picks you got from the top and bot side here. Top side, great engage with the Ornn coming in here. Camille, granted, is still up if you want to play for that, but traditionally, Tricked has been playing for that bot side.
Yeah, and I even though they have been traditionally playing for the bottom side, I wonder if they're still going to be willing to just lock in the Camille regardless in this rotation, and kind of just allow our choose pool to be pinched a little bit. Often, I feel like teams in this tournament so far haven't really wanted to let their AD carry pool get pinched too hard, but we are going to see the Lulu, so there's of course still a flex towards Wazor and for PlayStation, so Tricked keeping their options open here.
I think we can expect this one to go to the top side. I'd be very surprised if we would see it go through the bot side now. So Hecarim coming in from Soph, I think that is one of the jungler he will perform better on in this. As we've already talked about, it's usually not the Kindred and Graves that's come to mind, but it's more of these ganking junglers. But I like the response here, actually. I don't mind this into Lulu and Twisted Faith. Olaf is usually one of the champions that has a lot of dueling power, so this is a champion that for sure could work as well, combined with a Galio in the mid lane, or Silas if you want to answer with this Twisted Faith ultimate.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for Trick now, Galio becomes a must ban. Having Galio be there to enable the dives from Olaf, being able to just run through the gold cards and polymorphs, I think is going to be a really big deal for Nordavind Black to feel they were able to get their hands on that champion. So I think it now becomes a must ban. And then alongside that, from on Nordavind's side, I think they just ban out 2 AD carries. I think they'll go with the Ashen, which they have, which is fine. And then they'll probably look for another powerful AD carry. I guess they could maybe look to knock on maybe potentially the MF, just another sort of like lane prowess AD here.
You're calling him on the spot, Jamada. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Look, it's big brain Jamada over here on the analyst desk. The Pantheon gets taken away also, just in case Pantheon support was coming through. So no dive buddies, I guess, be able to ult in with the Olaf to help facilitate that. We're going to see the pick come through. I imagine the support gets taken in this situation, just to give you a little bit of a option. Yeah, so they're going to take away the Thresh. Obviously, PlayStation, kind of in the name, known pretty much for his Thresh. So will not get his hands on that. And now we're looking to round out this composition from Tricked. If you're Tricked, what are you looking for here?
Well, obviously you want to secure that AD carry. Ezreal, still a champion that is up and available if you want a more safer AD carry here.
Yeah, I was expecting potentially the Senna. I think it works quite well when you're talking about a Hecarim potentially diving in, and it's one of the few champions kind of left that R2 feels like super comfortable on. I would imagine that the set, I mean, it's going to hold the Trick are going to hold the cards close to their chest here until Nordavind Black lock in their final pick, because the Set and the Lulu can flex between both lanes. That being said, Senna and Set, you would imagine, are going to end up in the bottom lane together. It's kind of an unorthodox pairing to see Lulu and Senna in the bottom lane.
I'm actually really surprised to see that despite the mid lane bans coming in, it's not going to be a Sylas with the Twisted Faith, the Senna, the Wild Growth, the Hecarim. I think there's a lot of value in it.
Yeah.
But Cassiopeia coming in, so I think I can only expect it's actually going to be a comfort coming into this one. And you can already see the stylistics of Nordavind Black. You have a front line, you have a facilitating Jhin, and you're kind of playing towards this Cassiopeia, who's going to be the one dealing a lot of damage, also combined with hopefully a Rabadon's Death Crown later in the stages with this on.
Okay, so this is obviously a big series for both of these teams. They're two, most people considered relative heavyweights coming into the NLC Full Open. This is a series that clearly is going to mean a lot to both of these organizations, especially as Nordavind White awaits them in the next series for whoever actually wins. Jamada, who do you think takes it based on draft alone here to begin with?
It's kind of close to core. I think it's the phrase we've heard a lot over the last couple of days. I think that Nordavind Black probably have a little more agency in the early game up until you have the Twisted Fate armor available for Tricked. So I'm gonna edge it potentially in draft for Nordavind. I think they've got a few more facets to work with. They've got scaling, they've got early game. They kind of look strong from start to finish, whereas I can see some gaps for Tricked to be abused.
Gulborg, one word, which one?
Well, I'm actually giving a small edge to Nordavind as well, but I do expect Tricks to have some tricks when we get in game.
Absolutely not one word, but I'll take it. Gonna hand it over to Orcs and Hifrain for the start of this series. We'll see how it goes.
I don't know what you expected, Scoundrel. Gulborg can't count. Hello, welcome to the Caster Desk. We're getting ready to go into series number 2, game number 1. Or between Tricked and Nordavind Black. I'm the only one here on the casters who voted for Nordavind coming into this series. I believe in the Chrisberg Crossfair duo in the bot lane. So that's where I've got my bets. I am liking the comp they put together. Obviously, the winner of this goes to take on Nordavind White. So if we get Nordavind Black versus Nordavind White, that's going to be super fun to watch. But we're into the Rift Orcs. Getting ready to go for game number 1 of this series.
Yeah, and it's a bit of an interesting one because looking at Trick's composition, I feel like, having the Senna, having the Twisted Fate, to me, that lends itself really effectively to playing around a side laner. I imagine this composition, if you have something like Camille on the top lane, it becomes very hard to deal with 1-3-1. But by taking a Lulu, that's never going to be an eventuality. Lulu's never going to be able to hold up in a side lane later on. So I feel like the globals will lose some effectiveness later in the game because of that. And in terms of buffing someone up, there's not that many great targets. You'll buff the Hecarim up and it'll be tanky and he can deal a lot of damage, but you don't have really a hyper carry to turn into an even stronger hyper carry. So not super confident with Trick's composition, but I think they still have a lot of tools. I think post 6, the Twisted Fate, Senna, really powerful in tandem as well with the Hecarim, but I think I agree with the desk when I'm favoring Nordavind here. And especially the Cassiopeia won't be able to match the roaming off the Twisted Fate, the anti-dive potential is a really big factor.
Yeah, it really is. Now, we did see Tactical actually get a couple of solo kills on to Lundorf in our first game of the day in the Ornn versus Lulu matchup. We'll have to see if Coincidence can be able to pull that one out the bag, but they actually pulled Wazor down towards his bot side in case of a late invade. Not going to happen. It looks like it's just junglers both starting up on their bottom side of the map.
Leashless for Foxy here, which I think is quite important. I really favor junglers who do this and give their bot laners extra agency. Now, that's not to say I'm criticizing stuff. Hecarim does need a little bit more momentum to get going in the jungle. This means Chrisberg and Prosper can get control of the lane, get the early shove, and they're not going to fast shove this. That's quite a typical thing, is you don't want to push them on the tower, but you want to secure the level 2 advantage.
Yeah, they are going to get these first waves. They're going to be able to shove it in, and level 2 advantage should be given over to Prosper and Chrisberg.
think the thing is, as well as it's quite low threat from the Hecarim at this point. An overcommit from the Hecarim can actually be quite disastrous just because he is a champion who doesn't run that flash. And if you go in early, you can actually get bursted quite easily. So,
well, it's all that demonstrated in the last game. Alright, so junglers both done a full clear on their bottom side of the map, heading upwards. Pretty much matching each other at pace at the moment as far as camps go. Do expect to see Proxy start to speed up a little bit as a passive will kick in, and the lower he goes, the more damage he's going to do, because the more attack speed you'll gain.
true. Stun comes out of Chrisberg.
Yeah, it's going to get pretty low, but he'll be able to get away.
Yeah, an over-aggressive step up there from Chrisberg, but it's actually also a mistake from PlayStation. So he ignited very early, and Chrisberg cleansed not only the stun, but the ignite as well. So I think if PlayStation had held the ignite there, it would have been way more punishing.
Just a little bit of light punish from Prosper, but not really got the damage to work with. But there's the flash from PlayStation. Chrisberg also having a flash out, dodges out on the snare from a Chew. That's going to be Nordavind getting away. That was pretty hairy.
Yeah, and I love this aggression coming out from PlayStation. One of the things with set is trading flashes is always good because you run the Hex Flash, and honestly, your flash being down just enables that. So I think going for plays like that is definitely what you should be looking to do. You burn the flash from Jhin. That's Chrisberg in a precarious position, but Gank is now coming in.
Yeah, they are looking for it. Teleport's going to land, and that's actually going to be the snare onto one. Prosper having to make a run for it. Ploxy forced a flash. Teleport for flash. Jungler going pretty rough there. Good turnaround by Tricked.
Yeah, but ultimately, the Chew actually burns both summoners there as well. So I feel like this is still a decent trade for Nordavind. But they do lose out on the skull on the bot side on top of that. But, you know, Fluffer gets some alone time mid. A lot of trading. Oh, mistake here from PlayStation.
That's a mistake. That's PlayStation going down. First blood to Prosper.
Overstep, disrespected the Thresh, and ended up essentially face planting into the tower. Yeah, that's unfortunate. There was honestly some good play, and the setup before the flash in for the stun was really nice, but just getting a little bit over eager there. And Nordavind bot lane are quick to punish.
It's a great thing for them as well, as does mean they're going to get a nice shove in here from the help of Ploxy. But we'll have a little look at that once again. A bit of fumble by PlayStation. As we come out of the replay, we can see coincidence. This is how the Lulu lane probably should have gone compared to our game number 1 of the day. Getting shoved in pretty heavily, taking Glitterlance after Glitterlance. Wazor will take a tower shot at the least. That's going to be coincidence forced to go to base. And Soft actually getting an invade off onto Ploxy's jungle. Prosper
didn't actually get
almost got that. Almost got that. Didn't quite get it though.
Yeah, I mean, this is how we expect a Lulu matchup to go. Just consistent harass. Again, against the Ornn, he's not really too concerned about it, but it kind of gives the Lulu an opportunity to build up a CS advantage and then scale up to be super relevant later on. They leave out at that level 6.4 Aaron, which will be significant in what he can do on the map.
Yeah, we just ticked over to that, so we'll see what he can do with the Destiny. Just have to be a little careful because Fluffer has a really easy time cancelling that. Just slap the miasma down. So make sure you do move into Fog of War. Don't just Destiny in the middle of the lane. I know it's basics, but every now and then we still make those mistakes. Chrisberg's going to shove this lane out. Got a BF sword on the base, so we've seen a few people going for the cold start and Swifty boots. Chrisberg just going straight to flat damage. PlayStation Hex flashes out of the bush. Not going to hit it.
Again, I gotta respect those attempts, and I really like the Thresh together here with the Jhin, just because you have that lantern extra safety net. Oh, it actually does connect, but again, not gonna be able to do much. Crossfire is playing safety in this position, and they're just gonna move over to the river and help secure this dragon from the team. Oh, ult coming in.
Yeah, they are looking here with the Destiny. Into the hook. Deadly Flourish actually timed a little messily there. Ploxy doesn't have ultimate, so Soft's just going to run him over with the E. It's a kill in return for Tricked. Polymorph comes in. The Ignite actually goes down onto the Wild Growth. Here's the Call of the Forge God. Not going to be able to interrupt that one as Coincidence getting those brittles off now. Onto Wazor, just going to chunk him out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Ornn just doesn't have the damage to cut through the wild growth and the Lulu shields, and Wazor made the right decision in backing away.
Oh, good play, actually. Back into the tower almost. Crispberg getting the damage off. Not quite enough to secure that one, but into the shadow they go as PlayStation. They're very on the edge in this lane.
You're putting the punish down there.
Doesn't look like Proxy's going to see if he can make something happen here with Aaron. Going to get the miasma down. That's the slows forcing the flash out from Aaron. Nice gank. Gets that last axe in as well. Just chunk him a little bit more to force him out of the lane. No teleport, no destiny. Proxy's looking to steal this blue away.
I think it's important. I think these last two plays from Foxy have really illustrated what the goal is, to shut down Aaron on this tier.
And Waze will steal it. No, he cannot, but soft.
And that was fine. So he targets Aaron, burns the flash. That obviously means Aaron has to be a bit cautious about pushing up. And then he takes away the blue, which means you're not going to have the mana pool as easily to afford priority in the lane. So I like these moves by Foxy, but unfortunately, don't really have the pressure right now to contest this Herald. It is just going to go down. The Trickster easily going to be able to pick this one up.
Yeah, nice pick up for them there.
And actually, we saw a rotation coming out from Nordavind's bot lane up to the top side. But because Tricked acts at first, this is a very wasted rotation. A Choose chilled bot lane has just been able to farm, and Nordavind spent a lot of time allocating their lanes this way to not even be able to contest the Herald, so it's a pretty heavy hit.
Yeah, it really is. They're going to see if they can try and maybe get a plate in response, but with Gerald's in the pocket of soft, he can make his way bot lane real quick. This could be first turret blood. Now, Coincidence does have pretty decent wave clear on the Ornn, so might be able to do something about this wave. There's a large one crashing in as well. This is great because Achu is actually bleeding out in CS. Here's the call of the forward squad. They're looking for Coincidence. He's going to get the knock-up off as PlayStation's taking a lot of tower shots, buying a lot of time. Is finally going to get locked down, but actually Coincidence able to survive all of this as he's just clearing the wave out as best as possible. Finally goes down. But Coincidence, that was pretty well played.
Does what he can. I mean, it's so hard to deal with a dive from a set. The shield, stacking, makes it extremely difficult to ever turn that play around. The amount of tower shots PlayStation tanked was ridiculous. And he eventually goes down, and now Tricked looking to translate that with the Herald. They will definitely get first tower here, and all the gold is going to stop and eschew. So a pretty massive win for them overall in this early game.
One good thing you can note though is Crispberg did get all the solo plates top lane. That's 3 plates for him. As Aaron charging up the gold card. We'll be looking for Ploxy. Ploxy actually just lanterns away. It was all a bait.
But Ploxy waited there for like 30 plus seconds for nothing. You know, they tried to push the wave in a dive, didn't get it, didn't even get a tower plate. And look at the level and farm difference between these two junglers. Ploxy is not having a good time. Soft 2-0 level 8 with almost a 30 CS lead. You can't afford to be wasting that much time just chilling and waiting for a dive that never actually comes to fruition. It's really looking rough for this Olaf, and he's just got the Warriors enchant as well. He's going to fall off a cliff when Soft already has the Triforce completed.
There's a massive difference between the game 3 of our last series on the Hecarim versus this game. As Fluff is actually going to cancel his recall, looking to try and catch this. Crispberg made his way over. They got 30 seconds until this dragon spawns. Nordavind were able to pick up that first one, remember, so pick up here is great for them. Put some 2 away from that soul point, but also can maybe buy them a bit of time if Trick do start to continue to grow this snowball or grow this lead they've got for themselves.
Yeah, and souls are going to be a mountain or an infernal, both pretty valuable here. I think the extra shielding for the mountain ties well to protect Nordavind's 2 carries. Got 4 tricks, more shields on top of the comp with Lulu, never complain, and then infernal. Huge amount of damage from that. So Dragon's definitely a priority in this situation. You can see them moving down towards it. Already going for a TP from Fluffo. And I don't think a response is coming in from Trick. They're moving towards the top side of the map. Wazo doesn't have the TP available. And this is very much going to the style of play of, you know, 2 dragons means nothing. 2 dragons means nothing if you don't get another one after that. Tricked instead going to prioritize the gold lead and look to get a plate in the top side, deny a bunch of minions, And at this point, we're going to see Nordavind back 3,000 gold down at 12 minutes, which is a significant disadvantage.
Yeah, it really is. You can see the gold where it's been allocated on your screens right now. 400 between the mid laners at the moment. Massive gold lead between those top laners, and it's the jungle difference. That's where the problem is.
It's really concerning, especially since it's a Hecarim. One of the big things with Nordavind's composition is it's a 2-carry composition. It's the Cassiopeia and the Jhin. Oh, Crossfire potentially caught out.
Yeah, that's the shield and still flashes away from the railgun. The fear comes down as Soft underneath the tower is going to get rooted up. The curtain call comes down, but that's just going to be tricked. Getting out scot-free. Chris Berg unable to protect his support. Fluffo just going to farm up here in the bot lane. Tricked really starting to turn the heat up now.
And that was the payoff from that aggressive vision earlier. While Nordavind Black on the bot side securing Dragon, Tricked went into this red side jungle and they put down a ton of wards that were able to spot out Crossfire and able to find that punish. So really paying off in that regard.
Chris Berg is going to be able to hold this wave though for the moment. He has got a slight CS lead over his counterpart. Same for Coincidence. Same for Fluffo. I think it's the one thing that's actually keeping this gold lead from being completely massive is the fact they're keeping themselves ahead in CS as they are looking for a play onto a Chew. Great binding though means that they're not going to be able to catch him.
Let's get the flash though, so there's at least something, but not too much of a reward in that scenario. Starting to feel concerned. And again, going back to the point I was raising earlier, Nordavind only have 2 carries in the composition. It's the Jhin and the Cassiopeia. So when you have a Hecarim who's this strong, it's really scary because if he dives in and he can just burst one of your carries, that leaves you with only 1 carry to finish out the team fight. Is not a good spot to be in. So Hecarim being strong, especially with the Lulu to back him up, is a big concern here for Nordavind.
So what does it Nordavind need to do? We know what they're worried about, we know what they're concerned about, but what is the answer?
They need to slow the tempo of the game down. Now, all the outer towers and the top and bottom have been taken. They need to do their best to protect this mid tower and be cautious about overextending. I don't think Tricked are quite at the point where they can easily pull off a dive. So just play a defensive game and look to lean into your scaling. You've already got 2 dragons, so you're not really too concerned about them getting stole anytime soon. But I think if you try and fight them now, you will just lose incredibly hard.
Taking a look at the items that come forward, the Archangels, the Storm Razor onto Chris Berg and Fluffo. As the Rower has been picked up onto Aaron, Triforce for Soft. Weasel is building in that supportive build, got the Fiend's Unholy Grail in the inventory.
And he's happy just to hold up against Fluffo. Got the extra magic resist from the Fiends and lose wave clear's alright. Not going to ever find priority against the Cassiopeia, but it's enough just to mitigate that lane. Allows the team to continue to make plays. See Hecarim just going to take the second Herald, and this is the thing that makes it a bit scary because the pace of the game is limited when that mid lane tower is up. Taking down the mid lane tower just allows you to push up the vision control so substantially, and that Herald will, without a doubt, be thrown down mid lane at some point. It's just about Tricked finding the window. You have Dragon coming up in a minute. I fully think Nordavind should just forfeit this one. Don't contest it. Leave it alone. I think you can see Nordavind are looking to take that scuttle. But that's it. I think going for the Dragon is an absolute mistake here. And hopefully they just take the scuttle and get away.
Do they greed? That is the question I'm asking now. Do Nordavind greed for this? Destiny's been used, so they got ideas of where everybody is on the map. Remember, Coincidence does have teleport, so even though he's in the base at the moment, should be able to join up the team if needs be. But like you said, you'd like to see them give it up. You'd like to see them just go, let's just lose this one. As the Chew actually is going to get caught out and fairly heavily chunked out by Chris Berg, but he's the one getting run over. Soft finds the kill. There's the slam back as Fluffo looks for the petrifying gaze, able to lock a couple of members down as PlayStation's taking a lot. Aaron gets exhausted by Coincidence. Healths on Tricks are low as Soft is ramping up, slowed down by the Q. Nordavind lose their AD carry, and that is going to be them having to step away from the Dragon.
And that's exactly the problem. You have a 2-carry composition, and Hecarim just one-hit your Jhin. You cannot carry out the team fight when Fluffo is the only threat, so you instantly have to forfeit the Dragon. I don't think Nordavind really needed to go for that play to work that one out, but either way, they get their answer. You are not taking this dragon, and Tricked can pick it up.
And that started off the back of Chrisberg. Just trying to get a nice, just trying to force a Chew out, basically. He wasn't going to kill him, but he just chunked him. He lost so much damage, but it was easy for Soft to kill.
It was Nordavind trying to go aggressive. They were trying to get a pick, trying to translate that into a dragon, and I think it was greedy. Greedy to think that had potential to work, but now...
Well, speaking of greed, PlayStation gets them both back with the Faith Breaker. Chrisberg will lose his life. Prosper will be next to follow. And Nordavind Black are on track to lose this first game. It is looking dominant from Tricked here. 6-1 on the scoreboard. They've still got that Rift Herald as they summon it here in the mid lane, looking for the charge, looking for the second turret here.
I mean, I said mid lane out of tower was a big roadblock in terms of pressure for Tricked. They've lost both, so a massive hit in this scenario. We'll see the replay. They're looking to pressure a Chew because a Chew goes a bit aggressive. But you can see they're not really in sync because Prosper doesn't walk up to Flay, but instantly the punish comes in from Soft. That's one carry down. They throw a ton of CC at Fluffo. Fluffo does survive here and gets a decent ult, but with his health bar low and the threat coming out from Tricked, they know they can't win this team fight here. They know one carry is enough to carry them through, so they have to back away. Now the dive, I mean, it's just a really rough spot to be in. It's a beautifully executed dive here, and the aggro picked up by PlayStation. You can see how many tower hits he tanked. Very little you can do in that scenario, and I think the mistake was just Chrisberg and Prosper trying to defend that tower, and the rest of the team not expecting this response coming out from Tricked. I mean, Nordavind opted to go for that top lane tower, and it cost them heavily.
We saw in the replay, Eren popping the ultimate. He's literally using his ultimate just to spot out people, just to find where people are. Proxy and Fluffo maybe looking for PlayStation here, but not be able to find him. Is now Soft making his way over. Choose pop the Ghost Blade and looking to see if he can get some damage onto Ploxy. Ploxy will just hit him though, and they're gonna walk away. Got a while until this dragon comes up.
And it's a
stolen
game.
Items. Well, you go first. We'll talk items after you.
Yeah, it's a stolen game. They're so far behind, and the farm has been kept up well, but at this point, Olaf is useless. Olaf is just not a champion anymore, and he never will be. He's too far behind in levels and in gold, so kind of disregard him for the most part. We're looking at this Cassiopeia and this Jhin, and it's what they'll be able to achieve late in the game. So 6,000 gold down to 20 minutes is never a good spot to be in, and if Tricked maintain this pressure, they are on a clear course for victory.
Absolutely. Now Destiny's being used. PlayStation Hex flashes over the wall, and Nordavind are just going to get safely underneath their turret. Can see though, Fluffo, 2 items on the Cassiopeia. Maybe when that Death Cap gets upgraded into the Death Crown, there might be some breathing room here. But like you said, it's the 2 damage comp. If one of these carries is dead, it just feels like they can't fight. They do find themselves a hook actually on to a Chew, and that's going to be Prosper finding the kill. Call of the Forge God's going to get avoided by Soft as he uses a good ultimate to get away from that one. So that's at least something for Nordavind.
Nice pick. They get a punish on Chew, who honestly was kind of asking for it with his play over the past few encounters. He's kind of stepping up pretty heavily. Now, they won't get much from this because Tricked have got pressure in the side lanes, but it does give Nordavind some space to defend this. Now, this is kind of harking back to my thoughts on the Lulu with this composition. If this had been a split push champion in the top lane for Wazor, it could be a different scenario. It could really be them banging on those outer towers. But the Lulu not really able to do much in the side lane, even if Nordavind group up mid. But it still does give that strong scaling aspect and allows them to buff up Soft, and Soft is extremely powerful right now.
Incredibly far ahead. 21 minutes on the clock. Rapid fire cannon now finished up for Chrisberg. You can see on your screens the gold difference over time. It has been in steady decline for Nordavind Black. They have got themselves in the river. Not really too much vision to work with, but they've nestled some level of controls. Skill shots are going to go wide in PlayStation. That's going to be him able to dodge out of any CC or any potential poke to force him out of the lane. Nordavind, they're itching for this dragon. They want to look for Soul as a win condition, but the Destiny's been put down, and that means Nordavind have been spotted out. Tricked are going to collapse in behind them, and now Nordavind is onto them to start the dragon up. Soft, making his way forward. Remember, he is actually 3 levels over Proxy right now. The Call of the Forge God's coming down, and Proxy's going to get jumped onto.
What a
That's the
combo.
one-bow combo. Nordavind are just getting absolutely obliterated here by Trick. Proxy's going to go down, and Aaron is chasing for coincidence with that blue card, looking for him as he gets the ghost on, gets the flay, gets the hook. Aaron finds a double kill. Prosper, the only one standing, as Aaron is doing so much damage here. Prosper trying to make a bit of a hero play, unable to do so. 4 for none in favor of Tricked. Dragon in their pocket, and Baron will be the prize.
I just don't understand why you're going for that dragon. Second dragon for Trick, big deal. Doesn't change the game at all. I think actually the correct play there would be to have Cassiopeia try and rush down the Baron with Olaf and have Lantern ready to get them out if they get called out on it. You go for that Baron play. If it fails, you didn't lose anything other than the dragon. If it succeeds, you manage to get a Baron when by all means you shouldn't. But fighting that dragon was never going to work.
Oh, Aaron almost finding himself in a bit of trouble. As they are just going to chase him down. Here comes Prosper with one slap of the hook. You have to be a little careful as Chrisberg can potentially die to Aaron here. The shutdown from Prosper. Actually not the member you wanted to get that. That was 750 gold in the pocket of the support when Chrisberg really needed that.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the play here. Great dive coming out from PlayStation, followed up by Stop with the Lulu ult. You're just never winning this. There's so much CC onto these carries. They never get any space to do anything. Decimation there. And it's a great backline dive, but also the gold lead never gave Nordavind even space to make that a possibility. And I think actually in the play after this, where Chrisberg didn't get the kill onto Aaron, I think that was a complete misplay from Chrisberg. Like the angle off his Jin ult,
yeah,
left so much space. Like he could have easily pointed it down the lane, so there's nowhere for Aaron to avoid. By all means, he definitely should have been able to get that one if he set the ult up correctly, but does make a bit of a misplay, isn't able to find it there, and pretty costly.
Really, really rough stuff actually for Chrisberg there. Kind of, he's 0-3-3. All of the kills currently on Nordavind are on Prosper. It's okay the support taking a kill here and there. I don't think that's a problem, but when you're behind, when there's these shutdowns being handed over, you are actually really starting to suffer when you're like, you need to get this little bit more gold into those carries. You know, Fluffo, 2 items on the Cassiopeia, that's great. Actually gone for the Fiendish Codex, so looking for a Zonius as the next item with that stopwatch as well. I just worry that at the moment, Nordavind they don't have anything in the tank. It feels like they are completely empty here. Looks like our quick pause is ending. We'll be getting back into the action any second now, so that's nice. Chrisberg also opting into the Executioner's Calling to deal with the Lulu, the Senna, the Hecarim healing. There's a lot of healing to deal with, and that's an 800 gold divergence, which I don't know if you can afford at the moment.
You have to do it though. So the healing is pretty significant. At this point, I really think the game feels very rough. 9,000 gold lead for Tricked. Nordavind again posturing for a fight here. Aaron isn't there and he's just used TP, but has Destiny available. At this point, it's kind of just trying to survive against the Baron. Hunter comes out, but that's a lot of damage. From
Fluffo also does a fair amount. The railgun onto Chrisberg, bursting him out heavily there.
Not enough to kill him, but will chunk him out.
Look from Prosper means they're just going to pull that cannon a little bit closer to the tower. Not going to be, unfortunately, in range of the tower, however, as Chrisberg makes his way towards this top lane to deal the wave here. Soft just rotates over towards the bottom side. Sorry, the mid side. Nordavind, they are going to have to pull something out of the hat here.
Last tower outside the base gonna go down. Tricked in a comfortable spot. 10,000 gold lead. 2 minutes on the next dragon, but they still have the Baron to make Yusuf, and they've split into a 1-3-1. I still don't think there's much Nordavind can do even if they find a chance to engage mid lane. Now they'll just try and focus on clearing out the waves.
You have to do one hell of an engage for Nordavind to find any kind of comeback here. Baron has worn out. 4 tricks. That does mean that the siege will slow down somewhat. Actually, it hasn't run out. Sorry.
It's just Aaron.
Aaron gave it up and he died of it, didn't he? Yeah.
Yep.
Baron hasn't worn out and it is going to continue to pound away. Thank you, Observer. I can see the big cannon. Now it's gone.
Worn out. Yeah.
Get bullied by the Observers now.
Well, they managed to get the outer towers for a lot of gold, influx, 4 trick, so they are significantly ahead. They haven't been able to break the base. It's like they're still trying to look for it here in the mid lane, but I think you just have to back away. Go for the reset, look towards that dragon, take that one, and then you have a couple of minutes till the next Baron and 5 minutes until that soul. An Infernal, definitely substantial on this game. Level 16 for Soft, by the way. 4-level lead on the Olaf. That is massive. Look at the CS difference as well. Time to Flame Rise, 120 CS. It's even more, almost double the gold.
It's big. It's really big. And Nordavind are just not willing to ever give up these dragons. They will fight every dragon to the death. Once he steals away a red buff, but 4 levels down over the other jungler. Could be for a bit of hurt. Is Chrisberg actually does go onto the Flay Station. They're going to have to use the Destiny out. The Railgun's just going to chunk Chrisberg, almost half health him. Redemption to heal the team back up, though, as they all do get healed. Now the dragon's up. Aaron has joined his team. That gold card available is going to land it on the Fluffo, maybe. Actually, it'd be Ploxy who takes it. He's going to get a light chunk off his Flay Station. Jumping away. Here comes the Call of the Forge God. Looking for that turnaround. A great petrifying gaze, but it's not enough. Coincidence on the front, but Chrisberg going to get feared up here. Wazor's going to lose his life. And now Chrisberg has to navigate this fight perfectly as a stopwatch comes down from Soft. Looking for the Deadly Flourish, looking for the turnaround. Here's the Curtain Call onto Aaron, but they can't do too much more. Soft now looking to see if he can get onto that backline. It's going to be the Dragon, and the Chew is just going to run the rest of Nordavind down. Coincidence charges out of range of the charge, slows the wild card. The Lantern, they are still hunting here. Soft has got the Eon. He's looking for Chrisberg. Chrisberg's isolated. Chrisberg survives with a great play. Chrisberg gets the shutdown. 1,000 gold in his pocket. But at the end of the day, Trick still come out on top.
I mean, it's an even trade. I would take that any day of the week. 3 for 3 when you're this far behind in gold.
They're not done.
Perfect.
Fluffo's teleporting in. Aaron's going to get chased down. They're looking for the Deadly Flourish. Chrisberg, can he get this kill? No, it's going to be Ploxy. Teleport by Wazor now. Looking for Fluffo. Back Dragon being started up. Fluffo has been spotted out by the spooky ghosts. And it looks like third Dragon is going to go to Nordavind. Finally, they ran into this wall until eventually it broke down. However, things that are breaking down are their base.
Chrisberg and Prosper just played that team fight flawlessly, and it was a matter of millimeters to find the success there. But an even trade when you're over 10,000 gold behind is a miracle. And you can see Ploxy, a lot of attention's put on him, but he's useless. We go on to watch the bottom of the fight. Chrisberg navigating this. Wazor ends up isolated as a Lulu, which is never ideal. Ends up getting taken down. And Soft ends up using the ult, but it's flashed away. And this is where Chrisberg starts to output that damage, able to land consistent damage throughout this fight. And as much as he's on low HP, they're just unable to get on top of him. A lot of the resources used. And despite that, they could have just turned and gone for the dragon, but they decide to chase. They get greedy. This great play here to interrupt Soft just buys enough time for Chrisberg to get that execute and take down the 1,000 gold bounty.
30 minutes on the clock, and Trickster now looking for this Baron. Is there going to be a contest from Nordavind? They are looking for Aaron. Aaron's actually popped the Destiny here. It's going to blast going away to safety. Lantern to bring Chrisberg in. It looks like Nordavind, they're looking to contest this. Baron's not going down all that quickly.
It's a very slow Baron with the Senna compared to a traditional fast attack speed AD carry. You're not doing it very quickly. And Nordavind able to respond in time. You know, considering how bad things were, they're definitely better. They're not good. They are definitely not good for Nordavind, but they are better. And Trick starting to be a bit concerned about this game stalling out. Now Fluffo takes a lot of damage here, but won't get punished anymore.
No, he won't. Do have to worry about this bot lane though. It's already pretty low as far as the tower goes, and with the siege coming on the mid lane, they may just lose 2 for 1 here as far as the bottom inhibitor goes. Mid lane Hib will finally crumble down as Chrisberg misses out on the deadly flourish. That should be the end of the inhibitors. It finally goes down to one last auto attack from a Chew. Crossbear looking for Wazel potentially here. Got the hook, but it's not going to quite hit as that's a big railgun. Shield comes out from Crossbear, deadly flourish onto a Chew. Nordavind Black starting to bleed out. There was a moment, there was a glimmer of hope for this team. But this gold lead is still 10k. It's still too big for Nordavind to deal with. And as PlayStation flashes over the wall, potentially finding himself in a bit of hurt here. Crossbear will play him back in PlayStation. May just lose his life, but that comes at the cost of a turret. 2 open inhibitors, waves pushing in, and Nordavind need to find an ace and a Baron to defend.
I think that's enough, though, to keep that top lane inhibitor alive, and that's the important one. Losing 3 would be huge. Now, Chrisberg is dealing with the threat in the bot lane, so I don't think they can really fight here, but it's enough to scare Tricked away being down 1 member. Again, it is not good, but it could be worse. They managed to keep that last inhibitor alive. Nordavind are just holding on to this game. By the very edge.
It is very, very close for Nordavind, though. 1 fumble, 1 misplay, and the game is over. Tricked with the gold lead, with the fact they've still got their mid lane tier 1 up. They can afford to make mistakes here. They don't want to make mistakes here, but they can afford to. It's not going to be the end of the game.
This is the moment, though, I'm going to say for Nordavind. They win this Baron fight, and they get the Infernal Soul as well. That is the actual comeback. That is enough that I would say they've got a chance. If Tricked get the Baron, if they win a team fight, or they get the Infernal Soul, well, the Infernal Dragon, I think any of those would be really rough for Nordavind to fight back from. We'll have to see what they can do. Chrisberg chunked down now.
That's a lot of damage coming in from the AD carry. Soft is going to not get himself caught out here for the moment. Already they've lost Fluffo. The damage stealers are low or down. That's Chrisberg pulled under. Redemption to heal him up, but Soft will run him over. This is the team fight that Tricked have been waiting for. This is the opportunity, the opening that Tricked have been waiting for. They've got the Baron up. Sorry, they've got the super minions. They're going to take the towers. They're going to take the game. Nordavind. It was a hold at the end, but maybe I didn't think they were going to be able to pull out and push that game a little bit longer than it needed to be, but Tricked do still come out as the victors of game number 1.
I got to give respect to Nordavind for managing to make it last so long, but at the end of the day, the gold lead was so overwhelming, and Tricked's early game was crushing. It was super one-sided. The jungle difference, I feel like, was a massive thing. Ploxy fell so far behind on a pick where really, if you fall behind, you are useless. And on top of that, it just really felt like the rotations, knowing where they need to be on the map, was so much better for Tricked. And the dragons. I have no idea why Nordavind felt the need to go for fight every single dragon, but it really hamstrung them.
It really did. It's okay to give those up. You got the first 2. It's fine to give up 2, because imagine if they hadn't fought those first 2 dragons. That gold lead may not have been as big as it was there, because they kept getting almost ace to every dragon. That's so much gold, so much experience you're just bleeding out and losing out on.
If you think
really,
about
really
that
messy
fight,
dragons in the mid game from Nordavind, but
if you think about, that fight where they traded evenly,
yeah,
around the dragon, if they had a smaller goal difference, they could have won that, and they could have just actually found their way back in the game. And I think restraint. Nordavind need to teach themselves restraint.
Absolutely. I think restraint is going to be the name of the game for game number 2. But with that, guys, we are going to take a quick break. We'll be back after this one with game number 2. See you in a second.
Am I wasting time? 'Cause I'm already gone. So long, can you stay the night? 'Cause you're the thing I want. I know you're feeling different when you're stressed out. But even with no makeup, you still stand out. Cause no one makes me feel the way you do now. Like you do now. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. Whoa. It's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. When it's late at night, I feel you on my skin. My skin. You're all that's on my mind. It's finally sinking in. You're it. I know you're feeling different when you're stressed out. But even with no makeup, you still stand out. Cause no one makes me feel the way you do now. Like you do now. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. Oh, it's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. The way that you move your body, it make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. You move your body. Electricity. You move your body. It's electricity.
I know that it's time to make a start. We can't stay where we are, my love. This is our one chance to chase the sun. We've gotta cut and run, my love. For all the reasons we work so hard, for the life that we deserve. I know that we'll be on golden sands, seeing far across the world.
Welcome back to the NLC Full Open. Tricked, looking like the Tricked I think we remember from the NLC. Actually looking very dominant in this game. And again, I don't want to undersell this. These are two very strong teams. Tricked just happened to come out on top. I'm going to start with you, Gulborg. What was kind of the key to Trick's success this time around?
I think it's the way they narrowed themselves around the map and found their leads through ways that just good map rotation in general. But at the same time, I also think it was the punishment of some of the pathing and playstyle that Nordavind had. You already saw from the early game how Soft was able to get double scuttle, because instead of taking the scuttle, the Olaf went for a very greedy gank who turned into a TP Fiesta down in the bot side, favoring Tricked in the end. So a lot of this early pressure you wanted to get out from the roster just kind of faltered, and some really good map rotations around the pressure came out from Trick to kind of just solidify their lead. As soon as they got Aaron going on that Twisted Fate, it was really easy picking up targets around the map.
Yeah, and Jamada, you were saying, you know, kind of like through that game, you were like, well, I'm not really sure how Nordavind get back from this situation. Do you think it's a draft thing? Do you think it's the way that they played the lanes? Like, what went wrong for them?
I think it's just kind of the way the game ended up playing out. And then I also honestly really underestimated the strength of Trick's composition in the end. I just... The Senna plus Hecarim combo is so potent, especially once you start to take over the game on the Hecarim. And Archu was also silently ramping up like quite heavily. We saw quite a few times during that game. He would just walk up, pop an auto and a Q, and all of a sudden Chrisberg's half HP almost. So yeah, I mean, Nordavind, it was really hard for them to come back in. I think often when you see Olaf comps, that like Olaf being in the game, when you fall behind, the team comp suffers, not just Olaf.
I think this team comp from both teams was kind of like, if you fall behind, the game kind of just becomes harder to play, because specifically from Tricked as well, they didn't have a tanky top laner. You would kind of get outscaled on side lane there, because you had a Lulu, who just really invest into expensive items, but more of a supportive style as well. So I think it's just because they were so good at narrowing around the early game, they could push out this lead. It could have easily gone the other way had Nordavind played their composition better, but in the end, in game one, Trick definitely came out on top regarding the play.
Well, I kind of want to break down one of the plays that we saw from Tricked and Nordavind. This was a little bit later into the game. This is 27 minutes. So take it with a pinch of salt, as you know, as Tricked are already in a good position. First of all, when you're approaching a dragon fight, you're going to see that Tricked is split like this. And usually when we have a fight like this, it's never good to be split, especially when you have your key carries isolated by themselves over here. Like, these are your two main damage dealers. Obviously, Soft is a big deal, but you have Achu and Eren by themselves over here. The problem is that Nordavind, they have no feasible way, apart from the Ornn ultimate, really, to turn and actually put pressure onto Eren. They are so keen to actually go and contest the dragon, that I actually think they make a mistake here in the way that they actually approach the fight. So what you're going to see to begin with, I want you to now watch this. PlayStation, watch him. He is about to ult Coincidence, because I think Coincidence wants to hit the Ornn ultimate this way. I genuinely think he wants to hit it this way towards Achu and Eren. But you need to watch PlayStation on this particular ult. He actually just flashes in, ults Ornn so that he can't actually hit that down. Now, he does die, but in the meantime, everything is blown. And then you just have Eren and Achu sitting on the sidelines. No one could threaten them, because the only real way to put pressure on them from this team fight was with the Ornn ultimate, and then Soft can just run rampant in this team fight. So Achu and Eren are completely untouched. Soft can run absolutely rampant, and you can see he essentially chases them down here. Now, this is actually not a bad fight for Nordavind, but I actually genuinely think it could have gone a lot better overall if they'd been able to actually kill Achu and Eren, turn onto them, because they were split by themselves. But nonetheless, it was a really, really good I think, way of dealing with a split comp, because I think it's quite difficult when you're playing a game and you split up around a dragon to actually execute a pincer or a split properly. And I actually think Trick did that pretty well.
Yeah. They did. And honestly, I have to credit Nordavind Black, in my opinion, for that fight, because think about the game state. That was a 10k gold deficit, and they didn't get absolutely wiped on that fight. So, you know, Chrisberg, Prosper, rightfully brought up as well after that fight, really played that well to not just get completely aced.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it could have even gone better for them in that situation too. However, it was obviously a Tricked win. We're going to go to our second game in just a moment after a short break, so we'll see you there.
Am I wasting time? 'Cause I'm already gone. So long, can you stay the night? 'Cause you're the thing I want. I know you're feeling different when you're stressed out, but even with no makeup you still stand out. 'Cause no one makes me feel the way you do now. Like you do now. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. Whoa. It's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. When it's late at night, I feel you on my skin. My skin. You're all that's on my mind. It's finally sinking in. You're it. I know you're feeling different when you're stressed out, but even with no makeup you still stand out. 'Cause no one makes me
Welcome back to the welcome back to the NLC Fall Open, everybody. Sorry, you won't get that at all, guys. It's just a little in joke, you know. You're not cool enough for it. But seriously, we are heading into our second game of the series here between Tricked and Nordavind Black. Tricked looking like the better team coming out the first game, but again, obviously things can change. We've seen reverse sweeps in these best of threes before, and we're into champion select. Anything that you would like to see changed here, Gulbog, especially for Nordavind Black? It looked like Tricked kind of had it down.
Yeah, I don't know if I want specific change, because it's just I was content with what they had at Nordavind. I thought they had stuff to play for. So to me, it's definitely not a draft issue, but an in-game issue we're dealing with here. Yeah. You can always compromise and say, okay, we need even easier to execute then. But I just didn't fall. I don't think so. I'm happy with them getting what they did before, and disrespect for soft Hecarim is something you could be happy about on the side of Tricked here. All the junglers we're talking about, Graves, Kindred, Nidalee, all still up and available, but I'm not too sure I'm going to see any of them. Maybe Graves and Kindred.
Yeah, I'm curious to see whether Tricked now with the Hecarim gone will actually stick with that third Graves ban, which they did in the last game. I think, oh, okay, yeah, so they kind of a filler ban, I'd imagine. Coincidence is a pretty big, like, Uric player. So maybe someone can mind there that they might end up taking a tank in the top lane this time around, but with the Lilia ban as well, that kind of just signals to me they're most likely going to opt into the Graves route. I don't think there's much reason not to be honest. And on the Nordavind Black side of things, I agree with you, Gulbug. It's really hard to really nitpick anything from their draft in game one, because it really just seemed like team versus team, Tricked were just playing the better macro game, but they're actually going to stick with the TF Prio. So I guess Nordavind Black, if they want the Graves, it is there for them.
Yeah, and I still think it's alright that you get the Twisted Faith, but I think they tried to bait out the Graves ban themselves, like, oh, this is what we're going for now, but the Graves into Syndra, really potent with the damage combination and single target. You can blow up a guy with this combination, so it's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah, I wonder how Tricked are gonna want to navigate this really powerful 2v2.
Kindred. Give me Kindred.
Yeah, I wonder if they're just gonna Kindred. Soft could just default to Lee Sin if he wants to try and play out that. But
am I hearing Jamada recommend Lee Sin?
You're hearing Jamada recommend soft Lee Sin. You won't hear me recommend many other Lee Sins, I promise you that. But Archu is gonna get his hands on the chin this time. Archu, he knows his stuff with a lot of his AD carries. So, I mean, Tricked, the ball's really in their court. If they want to take a tank and then top side or their support pick here, they can. But I'm kind of worried. Okay, all right. Throw me a bone here, right? I kind of half
Yeah, sure. I'm just excited to watch this because, like you, I'm not particularly the biggest Lee Sin fan. You're selling me a very important soft Lee Sin here, but it's going to be interesting to see if I'm going to be disappointed or you're going to stick to your word here. But AD carry wise, I think it's wise you get it down from Nordavind because if you don't pick an AD carry now, it's just going to get banned out. So you need to secure it. I love the Ashe. There's a lot of pick potential with it. Now I just need frontliners from Nordavind.
So this is looking like it's a bit more easier to execute, like coming out from Nordavind Black. I'm guessing that the Thresh Ornn gets banned 100%, right? Like you were saying, like that front line with the easy engage to follow up on the Ashe. But is there anything else that you kind of want to see in top lane? Anything? Let's assume Ornn doesn't make it through. Is there anything else that you'd be looking to focus for the top lane for Nordavind?
So I don't know if they play this, right? But if they draft more people with gap closers, I would love to see a Poppy, just because that it completely destroys the Lee Sin pick as well. You have, or it's a great frontliner with disengage in it. You stable tank you can use as a frontline as well. So I think Poppy is still something that can come in here, but it's very niche.
Yeah, very niche. I think I've seen Coincidence play the Poppy competitively, so it's in his wheelhouse too. So something to keep our eyes on. I think both the Nordavind Black bans make a whole bunch of sense. I think pinching PlayStation after his lane performance, I think that's pretty damn good here. And for the support pick for Prosphere, you'd imagine something along the lines of like a Nautilus, especially with the Pantheon ban now. I feel like Nautilus, Leona both. Well, Leona's gone, so I guess Nautilus is the last sort of engage support left for that route. But they actually want the Lulu. All right, so I kind of like this. Lulu Ashes was a pairing throughout a lot of the summer split as well. But of course, now on 10.19, it's a pretty potent flex. So Nordavind, again, they're holding on to that Lulu flex like Trick were last game.
Yeah, but Lulu is one of those champions that gets outscaled by basically any champion, and Camille is still one of those champions that are up. Granted, she does have a hard laning phase, but with Twisted Fave in the back and Lee Sin for Shadow, Camille could come in here and you just opt for 1-3-1 composition as well.
Yeah.
Do you think that Lulu going top here would be a bad idea for Nordavind, though? I know Lulu Ashe is obviously something that you were thinking about, but do you think Lulu going top is like a mistake, or would you prefer more sort of a tankier frontline engage?
If Tricked take Camille right here, then yes, I think it's a really bad call to put Lulu top, because at that point, you're not really going to have anything to like answer sides at all. At least now, Nordavind Black having R5, they can try and pick something to deal with like the global pressure and the side lane pressure later on in the game. So I want to see Prosphere on the Lulu now at this point.
Yeah, it's also just the fact that they lack a front line here, but Mordekaiser is actually going to be the one. So it's going to be interesting to see the team fighting here in this composition.
Yeah, I've got to say, I like the response as well for the Mordekaiser, because you talk about the combo of TF and Camille coming up to the top side and occasionally with the jungler there as well. Being able to turn it into a 1v1, that's a huge, huge deal. So I'm liking the Nordavind Black R5 to try and deal with what Tricked are offering here.
But then real talk, do you think they've got what it takes to beat Tricked, just given these two drafts at the end of the Champions Select? Do you think that they can execute this in-game and actually take a game back off Tricked?
I'm afraid of the bot side from Nordavind, because now you have that Lulu, and that just means that Twisted Faith might not be too tempted to go top side. Camille will outskate Mordekaiser in side lane eventually as well. So it's just about being patient. I think that you need to be very proactive with Nordavind, something they had some issues with in their last draft where we also favored them. Absolutely.
Guys, I'm excited for this. If there's anything to go by, our stream is always 6-game bangers. So in terms of a superstition, Nordavind Black have got it going in their favor. But do you know what? We'll have to see what happens. Maybe Trick can break that curse. Going to hand it over to Orcs and Hitbrain for our second game of the series.
I wouldn't really call it a curse. I think I'd call it a blessing, actually, but all our games have gone all the way here. But we are going into game number 2 between Tricked and Nordavind Black. It was a very, very convincing win from Tricked, but I'm kind of with Excander on that one, in the sense that it's like, you can't really go, well, they're probably going to go 2-0, because every game 1 has been convincing on this stream for the last 3 days. Every game 1 of the series has been incredibly convincing. And then game 2, just the winning team looks entirely different. Orcs, do you think there's any potential here in the Tricked comp that maybe they bit off more than they can chew, or do you like what they put together?
You know, there's some aspects that I think are good. Like, I like the fact that they have the Camille. That really lends it works well with the TF, because you can lean towards the top side, get the Camille ahead. Great 1-3-1 later. but I'm less convinced in other areas. So one of the big advantages they had in game 1 was TF into Cassiopeia is a fine matchup for achieving priority to rotate. You're now into the Syndra. It's a bit of a tougher time. I also feel like bot lane, you can find aggression on the back of this Nautilus, but if you make mistakes like we saw PlayStation do with that aggressive dive, Crispig Crossfire will just outscale on the Lulu and the Ashe. And I think as well, Ploxy on this Graves should be more inclined to farm heavily, and I doubt he'll fall as far behind as he did in that previous game. So in all honesty, I think in terms of draft strength, Nordavind have gained more here.
Yeah.
But I do feel like Trick still have definite tools. It really just comes down to, I feel soft on this Lee Sin. If he gets a good game, balls rolling, he's going to look really good. If he starts to struggle, if he starts to fall behind, could be a rough one.
Well, unfortunately, we have had a little pause before we get going into this game. Like Goldborg said, it's kind of on the Nordavind to be proactive, because eventually Weezer in the side lane is going to be a real problem. On the Camille, you've obviously got Sof, who should be trying to set up early for his team. Obviously, Lee Sin falls off a bit of a cliff as you move later into the game, but he still does have the ability to get a flash kick and maybe hit someone like Prospero or Crispberg into the team, but we'll have to keep our eyes on that. But for now, we do have a little pause. We have a little bit of time to kind of, chill out before we get going into that series. As I say that, the pause on my screen has ended, so it looks like we are getting ready to go into our second game of our second series of day number 3 here.
Yeah, I'd also say
NLC 4.
I'd also say I feel like because I expected Nordavind to go for the Thresh when they picked up their support. I felt like that would make a lot of sense to me. In terms of, it's great against the Lee Sin in terms of peel, but after last game, where I think I definitely say the biggest strength for Nordavind, particularly in team fights, was their bot lane. I think it makes sense that you're giving them this scaling agency between the Ashe and the Lulu. These two can take over a team fight if given space. And I think that's the reason for going for the Lulu. And it also explains the Thresh ban, because Thresh is often something you ban away when taking Lulu, as he can provide a lot of pressure and threat onto the champions. So I'm looking at Crispberg and Prosper. I think the rest of the team, we have Coincidence is answering the Camille. Ploxy and Fluffo have the early pressure, and Crispberg and Prosper, they are the team fighting duo that we're looking on to carry Nordavind through the rest of the game. It's up to Trick to interrupt that.
Alrighty, well, we're on to the Rift for game number 2. Defensive lines. We haven't really seen too many early game shenanigans at all from any of our teams over the last 3 days. I think we've had 1 invade. Outside of that, everyone else just starts up pretty chill. It looks like both the junglers will be starting on the top side of the map, so clearing downwards, which does mean we might see some action in this bot lane. Maybe try and put Crispberg and Prosper behind, or the opposite if you're Ploxy. And again, Leashlish starts for both of the junglers.
Big thing I feel is going to be... Oh, that's a heavy trade already from Weezer.
Wow, yeah.
Top lane is super important, because I feel like Camille is such a strong champion who can become such a massive threat. It's kind of like you have to have a good laning phase for Coincidence. So for Nordavind's sake, he needs to be able to navigate this laning phase. Obviously, it wasn't a great start with that trade, but he does have the Dawn Shield, will be able to sustain up.
And actually also taking a pretty rough trade for himself there.
I
He
mean,
does have the Time Walk Tonic to heal him up a little bit.
I think it would have been a rough trade if that stun connected, but it kind of missed, and so he just kind of brushes it off. This is instantly sort of what I mean, is that the Syndra has a lot more laning presence than the Cassiopeia. So we should expect Fluffo to have early priority. And that gives a lot of strength over the Ploxy in the jungle, which he really did not have a good game last time.
No, it was pretty quiet from Ploxy, to be fair. Wasn't really able to achieve too much. Now, on this Graves, power farming up, like you're saying. Almost got all of his camps down, just left the top lane Krugs up for himself, but Soft, done his full blue side, is now onto the red buff. Both the junglers will be down on this bottom side for the crab, so maybe we'll see a bit of a skirmish over here. They are heading into the area, although remember mid and bot are shoved in favor of Nordavind, so Tricked maybe not thinking about it, although Soft actually wardhopped over the wall. This is very slimy. Flash comes out from Crispberg. That means he might be in for a little bit of hurt here.
Nordavind have to send something here. They don't have the vision, Soft actually took a perfect path to avoid vision, but the positioning of a Chew and PlayStation, you have to expect this to be the case.
Soft will find Ploxy, jumps in with a Q, dodges out a little bit, but now the sustain's going to come in from Ploxy. Has got PlayStation joining up as Aaron's waiting in the wings here. Getting a trade off onto Fluffo. Gets the empowered auto attack out as in comes Weasel with the flash. The rest of the team not ready to follow that one up though. Flash burnt by Weasel. Does get a response flash from Fluffo, but the fight for the crab is going to continue as Prospect 1v2ing here on the Lulu.
So Nordavind do get the crab here, but a lot of flashes burn in this situation. The roam from the Weasel really effective here. Does mean that Quinston's gets some alone time with the lane, but you'll definitely take the flashes burn on the bot side. And I think it was a really nice route, honestly, from Soft. That gang path was perfect to avoid all the vision from Nordavind. But you just have to, when something like that happens, when a Chew and PlayStation are hugging their tower for the start of the lane and then suddenly go aggressive, you have to think the jungle is there.
Yeah.
And it seemed that Nordavind were aware of that situation.
It was a good read by Nordavind. Keep himself from being punished too heavily there. As Aaron will take the scat of the week and take a pretty rough trade once again for himself. Crab was picked up by Soft though on the other side of the map. He is down lower level to Ploxy. Last game it was Soft who was miles ahead in the level department. Hasn't been to base quite yet and is now just actually looking to clear out some more of his jungle before he goes for a base. Big wave crashing in to a Chew and PlayStation as Prospero and Chrisberg have got themselves a shove for the moment.
Maintained that quite heavily for him the entirety of the wave laning phase, and it really feels like Trick bot lane haven't been able to match up well in this 2v2 matchup. Level 6, they do get a lot of power for the Nautilus. Slipper plays actually going aggressive now.
Yeah, has a found a deadly flourish on the Prospero, chunked him out pretty heavily, but Weasel in this top lane is bullying Coincidence very hard right now. Picked up the double Doran start, so a bit more kind of early prowess he can work with. Looks like Trick are gonna use the opportunity they've got in the bot lane and the mid lane to get themselves an early Infernal Drake, a bit of extra damage for them to work with. So far, we haven't really seen too much success from teams who prioritize these early junglers. Actually, Fluffo getting jumped onto. Deadly Flourish not going to hit as Weasel takes the Unleashed Power and an extra tower shot. Coincidence bolting in towards him, goes for the pullback with the ultimate. And now Weasel's going to have to try and heal as much as possible. One last Q should just be enough, and it's first blood for Soft.
His first blood. Fluffo does go down, though.
Oh, no, Soft.
1-for-1 overall, but Soft isn't a really... I don't think you get out of this
Soft's
one.
doomed, unfortunately.
Has the flash.
Does have the flash,
one,
but not going to use it. Ploxy will get that kill. So it's 2-for-1 in favor of Nordavind.
Bit aggressive from Soft there to go and chase down that kill, and actually a lot of gold now on the Graves, who was already a level ahead. Does punish Fluffo, but ultimately the thing is Fluffo was such low HP, he has to reset anyway, so it's not like he misses too much there. And Quinstance does manage to get a kill, put him a little bit ahead in the lane matchup, which is definitely something he needed. So good responses from Nordavind overall. And Trick's aggression does get punished.
Destiny being used by Aaron. I think just trying to spot out where the junglers are on the map. As he comes in for the Destiny, gets himself the gold card off. Weasel's making his way over with a hook shot.
Nice
a great
shot.
scatter of the week by Fluffo, though. Weasel's not going to get close enough. Level 4 to level 6 is the jungle difference right now.
Seen a little bit of a reverse in the jungle matchup from last game where Soft was miles ahead. He's been really struggling here. We're putting a lot of damage down in this matchup. Built a fine PlayStation.
Blue buff was secured by Soft. I think that's
actually critical. I think Quinstance was trying to steal it, and as a result, Aaron didn't get it. And look at Aaron's mana now. He is not enjoying being without a blue buff. So again, a lot more aggression from Nordavind this game, and they've been handling this one far better. It looks like a revitalized roster, and Trick, they're not in a bad spot by any means, but it's nowhere near the dominance they had in game 1.
It's almost like we're scripting this. This is what happens every time.
Okay,
Game 1, very
telling
dominant. Game 2, fumbles, mistakes, mess ups. that can be
In
fairly
fairness-
costly. Now, it's not anything massive at the moment, but it's not what Tricked wanted coming out of game 1.
Definitely true. I think in fairness, there have been moments where teams have just gone into game 2 and really, it looks like they just were being a bit disrespectful. But I think here it is Nordavind have kind of looked at what went wrong and have shored things up. I think draft is a big thing. I think that fundamentally favors them better. I think jungle matchup massively. And the priority mid lane is just so important. And it's been going pretty well so far.
Tricked are looking to see if they can set up onto Prosper. Prosper needs to be careful here. Tricked, get the kick, get the foot, got the follow-up from Prosper. You're going to get followed up. Soft finds that kill nice and easy. Hits level 6 as well, so just gets the kick off into safety. Flashes over the wall, but Proxy comes in. Chrisberg with the arrow. Not going to find it, but there's the follow-up from Fluffo with the unleashed power. Scatter the weak to lock PlayStation down. They got a gold card. They got the red card for the slow. Now Aaron's the one on the run. Chrisberg actually pops the heal, the flash, the volley, the flash away. And now Fluffo flashes forward, finds himself another 2 and 1 on the Syndra. This Coincidence is hunting for a pick onto Aaron. Aaron has that red card, has that gold card. He's going to get locked down. He's going to fall as Coincidence secures the kill.
Really nice play there. And this is, again, Tricked go for an aggressive play. Nordavind punish and get more than they bargained for. Yes, Frostar went down, but they quickly collapsed and they managed to take far more in return. Nordavind just looking revitalized in this game. Going to be taking this Rift Herald as well. Foxy up in levels, yes, compared to Suffer.
Oh, might have to hold that one. Fluffo caught in the Hextech ultimatum, shut down for Soft, as the Rift Herald does get picked up by Ploxy.
There's still a winning play for Nordavind, but you can see Tricked are not going to sit down and let this one go by. What I really liked from this game is the top laners have frequently looked to roam down mid and put pressure down. Countless times between Coincidence and Waze are moving away from that lane to try and find impact on the rest of the map, and it has paid off.
Soft going to steal away this blue buff from Ploxy and from Fluffo, more importantly. Though, might get spotted out here. Does have to smite that to secure it, and now equaling levels, still down in CS is Fluffo. I've spotted out Aaron here. Soft, what is your plan? Sitting in the bush for the moment, maybe looking to pounce on someone. Joining on again with PlayStation as the kick hits Prosper. Not going to follow that up though.
Dragon spawning up soon. Tricked favored in terms of vision control in this area, but Nordavind trying to find a route in.
We know one thing about Nordavind, they like to fight for these dragons. Game 1 was scrappy in the dragon department. Wazel's getting some free time in the top lane though. Coincidence actually has made his way down. Remember, teleport down while Wazel has his is Aaron is going to eat a Scatter the Weak, which is going to cost him pretty heavily here. Now, Chrisberg starting up this Cloud Dragon. Hard
This
for
is
him to
risky.
contest it. They
No
are looking
TP on
for it.
Coincidence.
He's going to come in with a kick. Actually gets it. Soft steals the Dragon. Will lose his life for it, but now Achu's onto that flank, onto Chrisberg, using all of the CC onto him. The flash used by Achu. And Trick didn't really have anything else left in the tank for that fight, so a bit messy there, but they do at least get the Dragon.
So I was thinking this was risky for Nordavind due to the fact that Wazel had TP. But you'll see now it's actually on cooldown. Coincidence stopped the TP from being channeled. And honestly, that is just bad play from Wazel. You need to make sure you're far enough away from Coincidence that he can't interrupt it. So big misplay there from Tricked. And as a result, weren't able to find the numbers advantage to close that one out. You can see very quickly Nordavind turned onto Soft, turned on a PlayStation and took the team fight win. Yes, they lost the Dragon, which is a hit, but I think they can be happy with that one. And they are throwing down the Herald to try and get that mid lane tower. Obviously, you're on a pause, so we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, we still got the plates as well. And actually, I do think this, looking at the state of mid lane just on the pause screen right now, I think that's first turret blood. They've already taken about 2 or 3 plates. So that should just be first turret blood. I don't think there's going to be any way to defend this when you're down 2 members. And you're also running around with a half mana Aaron. So at the moment, you know, there's been some mistakes made by Tricked. And coming out of game 1, this is not what I expected to see from them. Coming into game 2, kind of did at the same time because that's just how every game has gone so far here on the NLC mainstream. But yeah, that flash by Achu is really what's got my head scratching. Flashed into Chrisberg, got the 4th shot off, and then PlayStation ulted him, and that was it. There was no one else to follow up. They didn't have Wazor. They didn't have the damage to follow, and it was messy. It was really, really messy from Machu, that play.
Yeah, and I'm a little concerned for Trick's chances here. Down to K Golden. It's going to balloon if they get, well, when they get this tower. I'm assuming they're going to be able to get this on the back of the Herald. The Lee Sin hasn't really paid off massively. It's down in farm. The Graves is really strong. It's down in levels. And other than the Camille, I don't really rate the scaling from the side of Trick. I think the Camille is that one caveat that might succeed in the later stages, but Mordekaiser should be okay to hold it for the time being. It's only really when, the Camille's able to dive the Mordekaiser that you're concerned. Until then, I think Nordavind should be fine, and the tempo they're setting for this game looks to be pretty good. The only thing I'm concerned about is the lack of dragons, but again, you can mitigate that. We saw Tricked able to do that in their game 1. Yeah. 0 dragons at the start, and they weren't too concerned.
Where are, outside of the dragons, what are Trick now looking to do? Obviously, Mountain Soul is potential win condition if they can get it early. Could help them. But what is the game plan for Trick? Because Nordavind, it's a matter of just keeping this up.
Picks. You have great picks with the TF, with the Nautilus, the Lee Sin, even the ult from a Chu with such a long range. You can just find someone isolated, pick them off, kill them. Other than that, kind of stall the game out, look for opportunities to play the map wide, because 1v1, I think you're still going to find success in, especially later on. But for now, I think team fights are too difficult. It's so hard to kill Chrisberg. He's getting buffed up heavily by this Lulu, and eventually he's going to get to the point where he has the means of like a QSS and such, and he has a lot of DPS to be putting out with the assistance from the Lulu. So I think for now, just slow things down a little bit, look for picks when someone's out of position, and that's how you can sort of find a route back into the game. But just make sure when you're going for a pick, you have information, because I think that's a mistake they've been making so far, like in the blue side jungle attempt, where they weren't really aware of who was there, and they go for a play and they get Prosper and they lose several members in return.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the pause is still ongoing. We did have Prosper having some internet issues, so he's had to do a restart on his router. So unfortunately, if you've ever had to do that, which I'm sure pretty much everyone watching has experienced at some point, it seems to take a lot longer to turn on when you're in the middle of a game than any other time. If you turn your internet on normally, if you have to do a restart and you're just watching a TV show on Netflix or whatever, it just seems to boot up instantly. When you're in the middle of a game, it seems to take 10 minutes. I don't know why.
I think it's the pressure, though. I'll be honest. The time seems to take so much longer when you're in a game. It's not as bad now because it's paused, but I swear when you disconnect from a ranked League of Legends game and you have no way of getting back in until you reconnect, it seems like hours have passed when it's not really that long.
I don't know. The scoreboard always seems to jump massively when I reconnect. Every time.
Well, in favor of your team.
Normally,
because I don't have to deal with you anymore.
Yeah. It's one of those things. But hopefully it won't be too long until Prosper gets back on to the Rift. Let's give us a little bit more time. We've talked about Christmas dinner, Orcs. What else do you want to talk about? What do you miss about the 90s?
The 90s? What?
I wasn't prepared for this pause.
You mean that period of time where I was between the ages of 1 and 5?
Wait. Oh, I forget you're that much younger. I mean, I was only 7, I guess, but I still remember the 90s.
I remember being alive during the 90s, but I don't remember them like, oh, remember the 90s, the good old days? I was 5. I didn't know anything about anything.
I remember Pokemon, and I remember the Millennium. The Millennium was cool. I was actually at the London Eye for the Millennium.
I was in Newcastle at the Millennium Bridge, which surprisingly was built for the Millennium.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of people, because originally the London Eye was the Millennium Eye as well. The big carousel thing. That's not carousel, is it? You know, everyone knows the London Eye is. It's the same for the O2, because the O2 was the Millennium Dome back then as well.
Yeah, I think they get bored of it when the time's passed, but we still call it, it's still the Millennium Bridge to us, so,
So have they officially renamed it, or is it just still the Millennium Bridge?
Still Millennium Bridge, as far as I know.
Yeah?
Don't know, quarantine's been a long time, though. Things could have changed drastically.
You don't know what's going on. I just remember, did you go to the Millennium Dome when it was a thing? Have you ever been inside the O2?
I have been inside the O2. I had a friend who used to work there. Not in the O2 itself.
Did you go when it was the Bodyworks?
No.
It was really cool. Anyway, our producer is desperately telling me to throw to a scoundrel because we don't want to talk about Millennium anymore. Scoundrel, take this pause out of our hands. Over to you, mate.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, okay. Unfortunately, we have a pause. It happens in online broadcasts. Of course, I'm told that it is a player restarting a router, so we've got to wait for that to go through. So, start of this game looking pretty Nordavind favored as of yet. What do you guys make of this early game so far for Nordavind? What are they doing differently that seems to be working out for them?
I'm really curious to hear Jimada's thoughts on this one. He was selling me some kind of Lee Sin stocks at the beginning.
I was trying to sell you some Bibles, some stocks. Yeah, I mean, it's not quite worked out so far in the early game for Soft. He's definitely found like a couple of decent plays, but yeah, Lee Sin into Graves, it's not really a farming matchup. Lee Sin has to impact the map, and I think unfortunately for the side of Tricked, Nordavind just responded really well. In draft, the Mordekaiser pick really nullifies the want to try and play around the Camille, and Lulu is kind of a hard-ish lane to try and play around.
It's also just the fact that in general, the casters quickly touched on it, but when they were making plays on the side of the Trick, they were really easily shut down by Nordavind as well. One of them were the TP plays that was happening in the top side when they wanted to make a Drake fight out of it, but Wazer just a bit too disrespectful of where he needs to stand to not get interrupted. He gets interrupted, and it's an easy Nordavind fight when Trick decides to commit. And that's the thing. They're feeling themselves a bit too hard right now on the side of Trick. I'm seeing a bit too many flashes forward, and I'm seeing a Nordavind that's turned up and ready to fight now.
So, if Tricked want to stabilize here, if Tricked want to get back into the seat of in the saddle, rather, is that how they say it? What do they need to do from here? How do Tricked respond from this situation to try and put themselves in a good position?
I mean, I think they've been really proactive in trying to make picks and find plays. Wazer multiple times now has already roamed down towards the mid lane. But I think it's going to be about trying to find numbers advantages probably away from Mordekaiser, because often numbers advantages don't work with Mordekaiser. So I think it's going to have to be trying to find some decent rotations and try and find stragglers on poor rotations from Nordavind Black. See if Nordavind Black sort of just get caught sleeping one or two times, and if that gives them back some momentum, then I think that's how Tricked have to play here.
Well, I'm being told that we are just about to head back into the game. Player is rejoining from the pause. So when our casters are ready, we should be able to head back into game and get in ASAP. So I'm just going to test. Yeah, I think we're ready to go. Hitbrain and Orcs ready to get back into game.
All right, and we're getting ready to go back into the game. Prosphere has reconnected, and we're going to see how this Rift Herald summon goes here in the mid lane. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this is going to result in first turret blood. And I'm pretty sure this might just result in the death of Eren. They're looking for the play, but he's just going to get blown away by the collateral damage, even though Wazor's coming in, looking for the big turnaround. Finds himself one already. Health bars are low on the side of Nordavind. The turret's actually going to survive this siege. Tricked pull that out the bag. How much health?
50.
How much health? 50 health. Thank you, Observer.
Yeah, we're really in a position where they could follow through on that. The ult from Achu actually in a really great place there.
Orcs is still muted on my side.
The roam from Wazor as well, really solid. So just a good play all around to try and mitigate that. The tower is so low, it is going to go down, in all honesty. It's not going to survive any longer, but they got it close.
Hey, if they can keep it alive for one more minute, they hold the plate. Now that's a little less gold. Although you can see that Prosphere and Fluffo are just running towards the mid lane side. God. But I'm just talking ifs. This is going to be the end of that turret.
The gold from Chrisberg.
That's actually all the solo gold from that as well, going to Fluffo as well, which is nice for him. You can see, thank you very much, the gold difference between our two mid laners right now. We've seen a lot of Syndras today. I think this is our fourth Syndra of the day. In the first two games of the first series of the day, the first 3 games we had, Syndra was one of the deciding factors in a lot of these. Wazor's going to get ulted by coincidence, misses out on the hook shot, and just caught underneath it. Uses the Hextech ultimatum to buy himself a bit of time, as he's going to be able to get a light trade off, but the bomb from the hammer comes down, and bye-bye Wazor.
That's that gold influx on that Leandri's for you. A lot of damage from Quinstance now, and Camille not really near those spikes, so... I mean, Wazor did what he could. He ulted to dodge away the Q, and it just was not enough to turn that around. Quinstance finding some pressure in his lane, and that is where things get a bit rough, because we were talking about how, yes, Tricked are behind, but they have this scaling win condition for the Camille. getting solo kill just delays that one.
Yeah, it really does now. 3,000 gold up for Nordavind.
Did see an attempt mid on an Aaron where the Crystal Arrow is cleaning another.
He's got the gold card to stun up for the moment, but he's getting chased down. Another turret will fall for Nordavind though in the top lane as they want to take out Wazor's turret. Dragon spawning up in 2 minutes. The question is, are Tricked going to do what Nordavind did last game and scrap when maybe they shouldn't? Although they are looking for Chrisberg. Stoff's making his way in. They've got the slows down. They've got the kick. They're going to follow it up as Chrisberg flashes away momentarily. That's the hook. Stoff will lose his life though as Coincidence is able to cash in. PlayStation going to have to try and make a run to the win, but I don't think he's going to be able to do this as Coincidence is actually going to get chased. Chu does a fair amount of damage to Prosper. Foxy jumps in forward, collateral damage available. He's going to follow this up with an easy Philly. And Ploxy will go down.
Again, we see the punish come out. Trick found a kill, but they pay for it heavily. We did see Wazor, though, getting some alone time on the top lane tower, so this trade not actually going to be as bad as Trick's previous trades have had in the game.
Yeah. We'll get at least something here. And this is the thing is, even if they don't fight out these next dragons, like, you kind of hope they don't. Every time they...
Brig trapped here under the tower. He does everything he can in this scenario. Flashes the last shot, but there just really isn't enough to keep him alive. But Coincidence comes in, kills off the Lee Sin, and then pulls back PlayStation. And looks like he might possibly be able to get away here, achieving a lot of damage to Prosper. But Slow comes in, and then Foxy knows he has the damage, flashes, and Achu tries to body block, but the abilities do enough to take him down.
It's going to be an answer here on the bottom side of the map, though. Another turret will fall. So remember, a trick to Aaron. A split push his way through this tower. Hasn't got the Lich Bane yet, so not the quickest in the world, but making sure as many of the minions die as possible before he takes that one, and that is Trick getting their second turret here. Rift Herald is up. And I'd actually just like to see a cross match from Trick.
You see that?
No, I reset.
Yeah, he tried to flip it and then Q it, and it didn't connect. So Fluffo did not get the blue then. It's 10 seconds on Mountain, so you're not getting that.
I'd like to see a cross match from Trick here. I don't think they can fight this. Go for Rift Herald and just give Wazor some more split pushing potential.
Yes, you don't care about the dragon.
Yeah, just go for Rift Herald. Looks like the pings are going down towards that part of the map, and might be the play where they are for the moment just going to clear out this wave in the mid lane.
I like how Nordavind bring 5 members. They're like, wait, they're not going to fight this? You can give dragons up?
First dragon to Nordavind. That is probably the easiest dragon they've ever had, not having to fight for it.
Mind blowing.
There's going to be the Rift Herald take.
That Trick making the right calls here. They're down in gold, not feeling comfortable. They go for the Herald.
I'm split on whether or not I want to see this go mid, or if I want to see it go on to Wazor, just let him split push harder. I think the smart move is mid.
I think definitely mid here. You want to be able to break this mid lane tower so your side laners can push up more heavily. They are looking for Aaron here.
Does have that destiny, but I don't think he's going to have a particularly great job of getting out. So he just steps away as Proxy makes his way around the other side of the map.
Yeah, I think you just go for the tower. It's a little bit of a tricky dive with the stun card, and also one of the strongest tools of Mordekaiser is his ultimate, but you can't really use it a 2v1 when you have the 2. They do manage to get that tower down. You see a lot of attention by Trix put towards his top side of the map, but at the moment, Fluffo just holding Wazor off.
Wait for these recalls to come through, and Soft is actually going to summon the Rift Herald, so Turret's going to get its charge off here. Could just be the end of it.
Because of the reset, that's just going to go here. They've got enough damage to finish it off. I feel like maybe Chris Briggs should have stayed around when he saw that. I guess maybe he was scared of the dive, so he opted not to. TP coming in.
Yeah, they're looking for this. Proxy dodges away on the Deadly Flourish. Here comes the Ash Arrow from downtown. Achu dodges out on it. Did have cleanse as PlayStation ults Proxy. Hooks to the wall. Soft's just going to juggle out towards the blue buff, towards some safety here. And Nordavind, they will get a blue buff finally. It wasn't their one, but it was one. And that was close. I don't know what the skill shots flew towards that blue at once. And somehow Fluffo got it.
A lot committed there to try and just get a kill as they were backing away from the tower. I think a bit of an overinvestment. and ultimately they don't really get anything. Trick finding these opportunities to get the tower, and this is really how you should be playing from behind. You know, you take those windows to punish, you cross map, you look for opportunities, you play respectfully, and despite the fact that Nordavind have the early lead, this game does not looks way less close, so way more close than game 1. Sorry.
And a good comparison is when we're looking at the free dragon point. At this point, Nordavind had fought a lot for the dragons. Maybe they shouldn't have, and that actually cost them heavily in the gold lead. But it's only 2,000 gold between these teams. 3 turrets to 3. Sure, they lost a mountain dragon, but they got that rift herald and they used it to crack open the mid lane. So the map is wide open for them, and this is just going to give Wazel some time to farm up a storm on the Camille. Got the Ravenous Hydra already finished up, and now building towards that Triforce. Is there like an item breakpoint we're looking for on the Camille to kind of deal with Coincidence in the side lane? Or is it more just about something else?
2 items is normally the big spike for Wazor, but with Coincidence being fed, it might actually wait and take 3 items.
Oh, actually looking for Coincidence. He's forced to flash out. Soft comes in to get the deadly flourish off. Soft's now been caught inside the bubble of death. Gonna be burning down pretty low here. Looking for him. Soft flashes the wall at the perfect opportunity. Shut down for a chew. But the cost is 4 members of Nordavind are just in the mid lane.
Reset's coming in. They might actually look for a collapse here. Wazor's getting pressure on the spot lane tower, but you could actually go for a collapse here. 5v4. You have TP, you have Destiny.
There they do. The Destiny's been popped. It's enough to scare them off at least. He's coming in on that flank. The curtain has been called. Wazor's coming forward. Chrisberg's been stunned as all of the curtain calls connect. Chrisberg just eating CC after CC. Rooted down as Aaron makes his way out. That's going to be the end of Wazor though, as Proxy's able to get it. Now Trick are running away with the fight. Shut down onto Proxy. Prosper's the only one standing. Tricked execute flawlessly onto Nordavind.
Perfect execution there. Knew exactly what to do in that scenario. They take out Coincidence and they find perfect. Oh, looking for TP in here. Looks like they're not done.
Might have been a little risky as Coincidence does not have that Shadow Realm available. Gonna dodge away on some of the abilities, but here comes Aaron with the gold card. Prosper's gonna get eaten alive. No shields to work with. Coincidence with the passive is gonna try and survive. I forgot the name of it. Double kill for a chew. And all of a sudden, the 2,000 gold gap becomes a 1,000 gold lead. Actually, it's not even that. It's a 100 gold lead. Too tricked. So let's have a look at this.
So, I mean, it's just perfect. The Gen ult's so effective here in slowing the disengage. Wazor can buy so much time. Aaron stuns Crispy. And look at all the CC just devoted to this Ashe. You can see he starts to put damage down here, but another stun card comes in. No way he can do anything. And the rest of the team just does not have the damage to put up. Perfectly executed from Tricked. And yes, they don't get the Baron because Crossfire and Coincidence sacrifice themselves to stop the Baron attempt. It really doesn't matter. They're able to pick up this 4th dragon, get one away from Soul. And as you said, the gold lead completely closed now.
And this is the difference between game number 1 and game number 2. They didn't fight for that unnecessary dragon. They just gave it up and they made a play cross-map. They bought themselves some time until an opportunity was presented to them. Now that they're equal in gold, they feel comfortable to go and take this dragon. They are now 1 away from that mountain, so the 2-item spike on the Camille is starting to get closer and closer, and Coincidence might have to start sweating a little bit as he realizes Wazor might be able to deal with him fairly soon.
I think, yeah, I mean, the thing is, Coincidence is still quite strong in the side lane. But the problem is, it doesn't even need to be strong on the side lane. Wazor's joining these team fights and having a huge impact. And they throw everything at Crispberg, and as soon as he goes down, they feel so confident to carry out the fight.
Chu has not got the cleanse. He's going to be chased down here. Chu, that was very greedy positioning. Crispberg, 900 gold shut down for him as Aaron actually gets caught in by Coincidence. Gonna stopwatch for the moment as Wazor waits it out. That's gonna be Coincidence getting the kill as Wazor should just be able to finish this one up. A 1-for-1 in the bot side. But overall, that's Nordavind coming out on top, and they're gonna take an inhibitor in the mid lane.
You'll take that. I mean, ultimately, mistakes coming out from the side of Trick there. A Chu caught walking in the mid lane, and he actually had cleanse there. He cleansed early. He just cleansed early. The ult still connected. He got tenacity to reduce the duration. But a massive mistake that gave 900 gold over to Crispberg. And Trick to make a play in the side lane. They do get a tower for it, but it was only a 1-for-1 trade because of Coincidence plays. They do get another tower here. This could be pretty disastrous, though, for Nordavind.
Yeah, Wazor also will be able to take this fairly quickly. stacking up that Qs. That's a lot of damage onto it. Does have the hook shot to get away safely. Bot lane turret almost dies in one wave, and that is going to be the problem.
Yeah,
Weasel,
gets strong
even
enough.
when they lose a fight on the map, even when they lose an inhibitor tower and an inhibitor, Weasel is still a nuisance in the side lane.
And that's the thing that's pretty scary, is that that tower is so low that if Weasel gets comfortable, he can just kill the tower and ignore Coincidence, and then look for the fight when the tower's down. He's gonna have his Triforce now, yeah. So this is a 2-item spike. Again, I feel like just because Coincidence is quite strong, he might need to get a 3rd item. Could see him go the Death Stance here, and once he has a Death Stance, he absolutely hard wins the 1v1. But we'll see. He's definitely at a big spike right now.
Yeah, he's 500 gold down to him, but like you said, big spike for him. And taking this bot lane inhibitor, if he can do it, is actually really big because it shows, well, it keeps the wave pressure on the opposite side of the map from Baron as well. So actually does find Coincidence. Gonna try and check him out here. That's a lot of damage. Maybe he just needs the 2. Has got his team backing him up shortly. Throws out the Hextech ultimatum, and Coincidence will lose his life. A solo kill for Wazor on the Camille.
Okay, yeah, 2 items is enough. Definitely 2 items is enough.
All 4 shots go down.
But yeah, can't do much.
Look in the top lane as well. You've got Eren shoving. Another tower just under pressure. This is just good macro rotations from Tricked. And this is actually what Jamato was hitting on the desk. He talked about how it just felt like Tricked were better when it came to the macro plays. So Soft actually may find himself caught out, trying to block off here for a little bit, but Soft able to jump away. It's going to be PlayStation who will lose his life. Uses the stone plate to keep himself up, but
They have to
Juggler
Baron.
goes down, and this might be Baron for Nordavind.
Yeah, Coincidence TP is coming up soon. They have to go Baron. Once Coincidence TP's in, there's no way that Soft steals because the board can just ult him. But if they don't get Baron here, I think they just lose the game to the split push. They need a TP in as well. Sacrifice your bot lane inhibitor tower. It's not worth it.
Oh my lord, it's Chew. Half ulting there for the moment. They got the kick in. Here comes Wazor. Fluffo's low HP. And Chew flashes forward. Secures the kill as Wazor jumps out of the pit. Soft jumps in. Soft's caught out. He's on the other side of the wall. Can he steal this one away? That's going to be the Baron. Secured for the side of Nordavind. But Coincidence is going to come out of the Death Realm. And Wazor is waiting for him. The Hextech ultimatum will lock him in place. And down goes Coincidence. Eren finds the kill.
Trick just able to stall things out and get a crushing victory there. 40 seconds on Coincidence, 35 on the Dragon. This feels like soul in the bag for Trick. Yes, they didn't get the Baron, but they got so many kills that I don't think it even matters.
There's only one with that Baron. That one is Ploxy on your screen.
They
Have a
have
little
to
look
go
at
for
that
this
again,
play.
though.
I'll be completely honest, they have to go for it, but Fluffo takes so much damage from a Chew with the poke, and then you see a Chew come in, the wild cards are connected, gets the 4th shot, and Soft, he gets zoned out. He's not able to do anything because of the ult from the Mordekaiser, but it doesn't matter. They just lose the fight completely, and the Baron is not worth that trade.
Eren teleports into the top lane. He's looking to put some pressure on the opposite side of the map as Nordavind do start this Dragon. Soft may be willing to give his life if he can get the steal off here, but I don't think he even needs to. Here comes the Destiny, and that is just going to be Tricked. Zoning Nordavind away as well. Wazor actually does eat a lot of CC. The gold card does connect, and the Curtain Call has been enough to kill Fluffo. Soft is still healthy. Wazor's still healthy. The kick comes down, and Ploxy is just going to get zoned away. The hook's dodged out narrowly here. That is the soul picked up for Tricked as Ploxy has to be careful. Coincidence caught out by the Deadly Flourish as Wazor catches Prosper. Supporting the baby cage. This is just unfair. Wazor finds an easy kill and Coincidence will lose his life. Ploxy, the last one with the Baron, being chased down by a Chew, but a Chew cleanses. A Chew finds the kill. And that is the ace for Tricked. This could just be the base as well.
I think they can just try. They can definitely get the inhibitor. It's 10 seconds on respawns for the side of Nordavind. This might be risky for them to go for the end, but yeah, they're going to play respectfully. They're just going to back away. No reason to go for it. You're confident now. You're 4,000 gold up. You've got the Mountain Soul. You don't need to go for this. And I think we can look at the level advantage as well. 3 levels between AD carries, 2 in the mid lane. Tricked got so much from that passage of play.
Absolutely. Now, this mid lane inhibitor might be taking a fair amount of damage from the minion wave. There is a super in there. Soft's going to do his best to clear it out, but should be able to hold this in time. So don't lose the inhibitor in the mid lane as well, which is nice for them. We can see the play once again.
I mean, just they get put so much CC down on the Fluffer and Chrisberg, they're just not able to put the damage out, and they get blown up. There's such a small amount of effectiveness when they're just getting chain CC'd. Really not much you can do, and then Nordavind, they know they've lost the soul. They're trying to back away, but Weizor is just way too strong on this Camille right now.
Exceptionally so. 29 minutes on the clock, and this felt really rough for Tricks for a long time, but now they're the ones with the dominating lead. Weizor's off in the side lane as the Ash Arrow goes wide. Here comes the curtain call. The Destiny's been used, and Aaron will join up with his team as Coincidence takes a little bit of the damage as Aaron does get a long-range gold card off, obviously running that rapid-fire cannon. The Chaos was used by Prosphere to make sure that Coincidence doesn't resume taking any more damage, but top lane under siege from Weizor as that turret will fall down. And mid lane turret under fire as well. Coincidence can't deal with Weizor anymore. Look at the level lead between them.
Yeah, I mean, 2 items was big, but now he has resistances for the Mountain Dragons, the Mountain Soul Shield, and he's got an Aegis. There's no way Coincidence even touches him.
Oh, Aaron, good stopwatch actually to keep himself alive for a long time there. Looking for the gold card onto Ploxy. He's just buying some space. That wild card almost coming in. Enough to find the kill as Aaron will pull Coincidence into range. Aaron actually just goes to take a turret as his dying breath. Inhibitor in the top lane crumbles. Inhibitor in the mid lane will be next to fall as a Chew 1 or 2 attack away from taking it. Won't actually get it. Coincidence catches PlayStation inside the Death Realm. And I think PlayStation is just going to have to give it up here. Nowhere for him to go. Pops the ultimate onto Prosphere, and Chrisberg will secure the kill for him.
I mean, they get a couple of kills. That's definitely not a bad thing, but their base is in shambles right now. And all those respawns are going to come in before the Baron is up and available. It's looking really dire for Nordavind. And Tricked, we can see Weizor has just picked up the Death Stance. I was talking about the 2-item spike. At this point, he just feels invincible. He does so much healing between the Death Stance and the Ravenous Hydra. And that's on top of the fact he's got extra resistances from the Mountain Dragons, the shield for the Mountain Soul. Camille is fully online, and I am very worried for Nordavind's chances here.
I really am as well. We got 1 minute until that Baron comes up. 2 minutes 20 until the Elder Drake as well. Trick to put themselves in a dominating lead here. Chew, 4 items. He's got the Lord Dominix as well to deal with some of the healing from the likes of Coincidence and the Prosphere. And the Prosphere and Prosphere. Weizor just waiting in the wings, looking to be a split-pushing nuisance. Remember, there's only 1 Nexus turret left. Destiny has been used from Aaron just to spot out everyone and where they are. He's going to push up this top lane. People are going to have to get pulled. People are going to have to go deal with these side lanes. But Weizor, looking for Coincidence, does have the Hextech ultimatum. And oh my lord!
Okay?
How is that fair? Weizor now hook shots away to safety. Chrisberg looks for the arrow. The flash means he's nice and safe. As the curtain call comes down, Fluffer is going to be on the receiving end of a couple of shots, but now it's Weizor going on Chrisberg. Chrisberg's just going to go so low here, almost finding themselves a shutdown. They do get it, but Soft answers back out. It's a 2-for-1 as the kick comes in. The follow-up is there, and a Chew is here to put the damage in. Coincidence has used the Death Realm onto PlayStation once again, but it's only the support. He'll gain a bit of tanky stats, but now he will be melted. He will be cut through by Soft, by a Chew, and by Aaron. They're going to look for the jungler first, though. That is the ace, and this is the 2-0 for Tricked. They knocked Nordavind Black out of the tournament.
And I think we can say this was the Tricked we expected coming into this tournament. This was the Tricked we saw in the NLC during summer, and the sort of level of play we were looking forward to. A rough series for Nordavind, but Tricked definitely convincing me that they were the better team. I think the critical thing we have to look at is game 1 was a stomp, but game 2 was Nordavind's. They should have had that game, but Trick just clearly understood how to play from behind far better. They found their opportunities, they found their windows, they managed to claw back the lead, and critically, they knew when to give up objectives. They knew when to give up dragons, had a cross map, and it allowed them to bring it back, play around that side lane Camille, and it paid off massively.
I mean, that there's why I put a Chew on my fantasy league team. Fantastic showing from him, but overall Tricked played a stellar game of League of Legends there, especially considering how far they were down. Like you said, just props them to playing that smart. You didn't have to fight that dragon. They didn't. Nordavind Didn't play like that in game 1, and unfortunately, that is Nordavind Black knocked out. But there is still a chance for the organization to get some revenge. Nordavind White will be taking on Tricked, so gonna have to find out who's gonna be able to take that one, guys. We are going to throw to a quick break, and when we're back, we actually have the man in the bot lane, Achu, I believe, standing by for an interview, so we'll see you after this break.
Shot eyes, another ocean opens wide. Our love is sick but still alive. Then all our hearts would radiate and melt the sadness we create. Only then could we survive. Let's turn singing, this love is all around us. This love is all around us. Staring idly at the sky, love is almost passed us by. Still we watch it fade away, and all our prospects wearing thin. We don't know where to begin, or where we might have gone astray. We crave, we strive to feel singing, this love is all around us. This love is all around us. Wait for tomorrow, lay in sorrow. Alone you waste. This is no fate. Singing, hey, hey, this love is all around us. This love is all around us.
Welcome back to the NLC. We do not have a 6-game day today, unfortunately. Tricked, however, fortunately for them, 2-0 this series. Keep them hopes alive in this group. We have to wave goodbye, unfortunately, to Nordavind Black. So we are going to have a quick chat. Before we move on and kind of talk about the series, going to have a quick chat with Achu, who is here to join me for an interview. So I'm going to talk to Achu very briefly. Hello, Achu. How are you? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling quite good actually now. I've actually managed to win a game, so I'm feeling quite alright.
You didn't just win a game; you smashed the series, mate. It was pretty dominant from you, especially in that second game. Did you expect to be in this position in the group? I think coming into it, a lot of people kind of talked as Tricked as maybe being the second best team in the entire tournament. You know, very closely following Barrage. How did you guys feel after like dropping to Nordavind White? Was that something that you expected, or did it catch you by surprise?
I would say it caught us a bit by surprise. I mean, like they played way better on the day than we did, and we did some hiccups. Like the way we usually practice at scrims didn't really shine that day, and they just were a way better team than us. And then we went into like the wake-up call we got, and tried to change like our picks, our priorities, and just like more focus on the communication coming to this match.
It seemed to have worked because it was quite clearly a very dominant win. How do you feel about that rematch now? Because obviously you are going into another series tomorrow where you will be playing against Nordavind White again. They'll be going, obviously they lost out to, can't remember who they lost out to. My brain's completely, yeah, there you go, Dusty. There you go. Thank you so much. You're doing my job for me, Achu. How do you feel about that rematch now that you're going into Nordavind White?
I mean, I'm feeling pretty good, pretty confident about it actually. I think like if we play like we did today, kind of like step up the communication like we did today, then I don't think they really stand a chance. But if we don't hit that day once again, then like they can for sure win, you know. So I just hope we hit like the mark on that day, and yeah, I think we will smash them, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you guys looked like the team we expected you to look like in this series, especially given that, you know, you guys have been together since the NLC as well. What have you guys been doing since the NLC? What have you worked on? Have you been scrimming? Is there anything that you've been focusing on since that season ended?
I mean, like we have been scrimming quite a bit, but we also like look at way more WOTs, like the Worlds games, try to like figure out like how to move the map better, play better as a team, and yeah, just try to study the game more than we did in the last split. And I think that has quite shown, like in this series it's specific. It showed quite well here, but it's not every time we apply it. But that's what we have been trying to do at least.
Yeah, I think I'm excited to see how you guys do tomorrow. I think you should be favorites. If you play like this, you should be favorites going into that series. Be kind of sad for Nordavind that you single-handedly eliminate all of their teams. But I'm sure Nordavind White still ready to put up a fight. You guys will have a pretty tough series regardless, I think. Achu, it's lovely to speak to you, but I hope you keep him well, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you too. See you.
And I've just had an update as well off the back of this, actually given to us by Jamada. Thank you, Jamada. Absolved have apparently beaten M&M in the series over on the UKEL. So Absolved, I think, has Gulpa got a 100% prediction rate today? Because I feel like he's got his hands behind his head, like he's really happy.
So smugly, Excal. Yeah, he's done a good one on the predictions.
He's had a good day of predictions, mate. He's had a good day of predictions. Okay, guys, let's have a look at the play from that particular series that we were pretty hyped about. I believe I selected this, so I guess I should maybe go through it. But Gulborg, you can feel free to join me if you like. This is the inhibitor fight. I just thought this was really cool about the way they executed the fight with Twisted Fate. I think there was a really good flank. The focus was really nice. It just was a really nice play when it really felt like I think Tricked were down and out at this point, you know.
And I think the reason why I love this place is from what it came from. They had just killed the Mordekaiser in the top side or bot side of the map. I can't remember what was. He's dead. And Nordavind feels complacent enough to walk forward here, but immediately the calls come through from Trick. We have the flank here. We can just go in, and they clean up this fight fantastically. This is their way back into the game. As soon as they get this fight, you go Baron. You go off the Baron as soon as you see the Mordekaiser TB come in. You kill the Mordekaiser, you kill the Lulu, and you've just picked up 7 kills, actually 8 kills in the span of like 2 minutes. That is just an insane way to get back. When, let's be honest, this game should have been Nordavind's game.
Yeah, I think Nordavind, I think especially within the first 15 minutes, most of us were saying, all right, we're going to a full game series. Nordavind are in control here. It was just a bit of a crazy swing. Jamada, there was then this Baron fight that you just mentioned, Gulberg. We've actually selected that for our player of the day, mainly because of the way Achu played it, especially. He played an absolute blinder in that one. Jamada, do you want to walk us through this Baron fight and kind of talk us through the player of the day?
Why, sure, I don't mind. Yeah, so it's Nordavind Black with sort of the numbers advantage. I think it was PlayStation that just got picked off, and you're gonna see Archu kind of just plays at max range. I want to say he has RFC, and that range looks way too large for it to not be RFC autos. And then he kind of stacks his autos to be 4th shot ready, and then when he sees Fluffo drop low enough, he just says, okay, I'm going in. Pulls the trigger on Fluffo, and then on the backside, Soft tries to get in, but he gets more ulted. We also see Wazor TP from the bottom side, and just in general, Trick played this really well. I was kind of debating whether or not Wazor should have showed up, but in hindsight, I feel like it was definitely the correct call to just bring over the top laner as well. And honestly, despite it being a numbers advantage for Nordavind Black, because of the map pressure, it still kind of effectively felt like a 5v5. And then of course, Archu just he played that fight immaculately, being able to stack the bullets off of the control ward.
Exactly, that's it. You're like, okay, I got a huge shot onto the Syndra. Let me just stack this down to my final shot on the ping ward. Was that flash in and just gets him immediately? That was perfect.
It was good play from Machu, and I think when Jamada you were discussing about the teleport. I think realistically, Mord was always going to teleport, right? So I guess he was just so keen to make sure that they leveled up that team fight. But agree, I think either decision would have ended up positively for them overall. And obviously, I think Trick deserved this. Trick deserved this. Now, guys, we have more games coming your way tomorrow. We've got 4 full days. We're coming to our 4th day of the week that we're going to go into some more elimination matches, or decider matches, as they're called. Now, I believe we're going to be covering the Group C decider, which is going to be Absolved versus
Singularity.
Team Singularity. So it's a rematch. So another rematch there. Sorry, my brain, like 4 full days of almost like 6 games days every day. My brain is completely fried. Singularity versus Absolved is going to be on the stream first. And I believe then we're also going to go check out Riddle and Ents, because we haven't actually seen Riddle and Ents play yet. We've covered almost every group and almost every team, but Riddle and Ents have not had their chance to get on stream. So we're going to go cover Riddle and Ents in our 2nd series. So we've got 2 more decider matches coming your way tomorrow. Singularity versus Absolved and Riddle versus Ents. What do you think about Singularity Absolved? That's a rematch. We've seen those guys play on stream. We've kind of broken down the way that they played. Do you think it's another Singularity win? Do you think Absolved come in maybe a bit stronger? We're going through a bit more of a gauntlet here.
I'll let you take a gold ward.
Yeah, I don't know. Initially I thought they were going to be struggling more against M&M today, and M&M did pick up a good fight, but I also think that they have evolved a bit more into drafting, where I think they faltered a lot against Singularity with what they came in with. I think that if they're at their best, they stand a chance, but I think that they need to find way to shut Alex down, because Alex in that series the first time was just smurfing it all time around, and I've struggled to see if you can't shut Alex down, how are you going to win that?
Yeah, I think you could probably on the right track here. Honestly, I'm very, very excited for those games. But we also have the other games taking place on the UKEL stream. So if you're interested, the Nordavind White Tricked rematch will be the first game played over on the UKEL, and we're going to have Viking versus PK. So we're going to have Denmark versus Norway over on the 2nd series there on the UKEL. So we've actually got some banger games tomorrow, and by the end of tomorrow, we'll have all of our teams that have qualified for those quarterfinals. So we're very, very much heading towards that do or die, make or break part of the full open here at the NLC, and I'm really excited for it. We'll be back tomorrow with our team, ready to take those decider matches all the way to the wire. We'll see you then.